Hey champions, this is Arian Tyson out of St. Louis, Missouri, representing Slick Town to the fullest, and I'm just coming back at you to shoot a video. It has been a great day here in the STL. Pretty much we're on to nightfall, so to speak, and I'm actually heading to the gym to get my usual workout in. So, but I wanted to shoot this video because something happened to me that was totally unexpected. It was something that, really made my day. And one thing that I'm learning is when you set an intention on something, things will happen. And, I just knew that, today was just going to be a good day. It was going to be a productive day. And I got to work and I checked my email. And I got an email from a gentleman who sent me a message on LinkedIn. And what ended up happening was on LinkedIn, if you know anything about LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a site where you get a chance to meet and network with other professionals. Whether they're, those who are just have the employee mindset of those who have the entrepreneurial spirit. You get to network with them and you get to connect with them. And so there was a gentleman that I have known for almost 5 years who we've been in prior businesses together, and he left a recommendation for me. And on LinkedIn you can leave recommendations for people if you are following what they're doing and you think they're doing a good job, or if if there's someone that you worked with prior, you can share, your experience and your thoughts about them. And so that's exactly what he was doing for me. And so, he got to explaining how, we had been in prior companies together, and he's, pretty much been watching me from a distance. And he shared how he has seen me take a leadership role or step into the leadership role that, in his opinion, he always saw was there, and then he even said that, he's looking forward to what will happen to me in the coming days, in the coming weeks, in the coming month, even in the coming year, and to say that I was grateful for that is an understatement, because I can't even put into words what that did for me and how that set the tone for what this entire day has been for me thus far. Because when you are operating in your purpose and you're unapologetic about it, stuff like this happens. Stuff like this will happen. And so I messaged him back. I left him a recommendation because the fact is, I have not seen at any time the success that I'm seeing right now and the success that's coming, because literally we've only just begun. I'm gonna make that crystal clear. We have only just begun. And I believe now that I'm just now, being in the industry for almost 9 years, I'm just now starting to scratch the surface. So what does that mean? What that means is maintain course. Maintain course. And the thing is, this entire week I just been getting messages from people, from former business partners, current business partners, from people that I go to church with, just telling me, how they've been praying for me, and how, they know that I'm on the road to greatness. And so I want to encourage you today, and I want you to think about something today. Now that I done got all that out the way, I want to ask you something. Do you have the courage to speak victory over yourself when no one else will? And let me preface my comments. When you put in a position where you believe in something, but the people that say that they're for you don't, you can find yourself in a lonely place. Because the same people that say, I got you, I'm for you, I know you're going to, I got your back. But when it comes to doing something that they don't understand, they don't have your back on it. So it can seem like they're being hypocritical. But the reality is they just simply don't understand. They don't understand. The problem with that is that some people look for others, look for their family and their friends to validate them so much that when they don't get the validation, when they don't get the support from your friends, from their friends and family, they feel defeated and they become defeated. It's one thing to feel defeated, but it's another thing to give in to it. The fact is, you have victory when you have been given a charge. You have victory when you make a decision to walk in that charge by whatever means necessary. Now, that doesn't mean you shuck your responsibilities, but that means that you stop playing the blame game and you stop making excuses. So, and that message coincided with a very emotional, I would say a very emotional and thought-provoking Bible study that we had yesterday at my church. Now, for those of you that know anything about the Bible, we were studying the book of James. In my personal opinion, the book of James is one of the realest books of the Bible. It's small, but it can hit you like a ton of bricks. It forces you to have to be real with yourself. It forces you to take inventory on the people that are around you, and it forces you to take a long look at yourself. And it forces you to get right. You're going to have to get right. You're going to have to get it together. You're going to have to stop playing. You're going to have to stop making excuses for why you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so I was on Facebook today, and I was just sitting there, and I was listening to I'm always listening to something that is thought-provoking. I'm normally listening to something, that just eases my spirit, that makes me think about stuff and make me have to, take a long look at where I'm at, and where I want to go. And so one of the things that dropped in my mind was we were having this discussion at church, and I won't say who the individuals are, because out of confidentiality. But anyway, they were talking about how they have a friend, and how this friend has put themselves in a situation to where they constantly keep having to go to them for help, whether it's not being able to pay their bills and this, that, and the other. But they have a significant other, but their significant other is not handling business. So it has gotten to the point where it's weighing on them, because their heart is such to where if they feel like they can't help them, then they feel like, it's a burden on them, when they feel like they've let them down. And I'm sure that they're not the only person. They're not the only ones that's ever felt like that. I felt like that once upon a time. But I had to realize that, what good am I to anybody if I put myself in a precarious position, helping someone else? How can you help somebody when you are in a position where you can't even help yourself? You got to get your house in order first. You got to take care of business first before you're able to, truly help someone else. It's too many people, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And just because you can't help them at that particular moment does not mean that you're not being a friend. That does not mean that you don't care. That just means that your priorities are in order. That you have some things that you need to take care of first. Right? And so it's one thing to just give them your last, okay, one time. But when it keeps happening repeatedly, and now you find yourself being put in a bind, you have nobody to blame but yourself. And it is what it is. You have nobody to blame but yourself at this point. Why? Because you let it happen. So when you get to the point where, people, you need to realize people can play on your emotions. They can play on it. And they'll put you in a precarious position to where they'll try to guilt trip you. They'll try to, make you feel like a victim. But the reality is you are a victor. You have victory. As long as you don't faint, you have victory. And the way that you really have victory is when you make a decision to take action on the things that you know you need to take action on. If your finances are jacked up and you're struggling to pay your own bills, what good are you doing by trying to help someone else pay their bills? Especially if it's in the case of this individual who has a working body at home, but yet they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. You're not helping them, you're enabling them. And that's what the reality is. And, whether people do it blatantly and indirectly, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. You have to take some type of accountability. You have to grow up. You have to act like you have to be an adult. Whether you choose to act like it or not, you are going to be put in a position where you're going to have to be an adult. Because if they can't help themselves get out of their situation, don't expect them to help you if you find yourself in a bind. They can't help themselves. So why would they help you? How can they help you? I mean, really, think about that. But as I wrap this up today, I really want you to think about something. I was sitting at my desk and I got to thinking about this conversation that we had at church last night. And I want to share with you, what dropped in my spirit, when I was thinking about the conversation, because it was a good conversation, and it went right along with what we had been discussing, and it went right along with what I was feeling. And the bottom line, when it all boils down to it, is we have to understand that we have to give, but not be used. Never waste too much time or energy on someone who does not value it. There comes a time where you have to stop crossing oceans to the people who won't even jump a puddle for you. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say that again. Give, but don't be used. Never waste too much time on someone who doesn't value it. There comes a time when you have to stop crossing oceans for people who won't even jump a puddle for you. What does that mean? If a person is not willing to do for you what you have done for them, you need to distance yourself away from them. You need to run. You need to run. You need to run like Forrest Gump. You need to run. You know, because this is real talk. I'm not, this ain't something to play with, because the reality is you leave a residual effect when that happens. You leave it causes a stain on you. It leaves a stain on you. And 9 times out of 10, people don't do it blatantly. But there are some people that do it blatantly. You know why they do it? Because they feel like they just know they can always count on you. It's one thing to be there and be a good friend, but it's another thing to blatantly or indirectly take advantage of someone's kindness. Never let your kindness be taken for blindness. And I'm speaking from personal experience, because when it's all said and done, you have to speak victory when no one else will. Why? Because you are no one's doormat. You are a person, you have feelings, and you have to demand emphatically to be treated with respect and dignity. Flat out. Otherwise, you are shortchanging yourself. And when it's all said and done, you have no one else to blame but yourself. So I am about to pull up at this jail and get this workout in. But I wanted to shoot that video for you, and I wanted you to think about that. You got to speak victory, even when it's dark. It's darkest before dawn, and you have to be willing. You have to speak victory through every test you go through. So I'm going to talk to you soon. Stay peaceful. God bless.